One of the iconic New Orleans foods is the po' boy. It started with two brothers, Benny and Clovis Martin. They were just two regular guys working for the New Orleans Streetcar Company. Every day, they wore their heavy uniforms in the sticky Louisiana heat and made sure people got where they needed to go as the streetcar bells clanged through the streets. But the Martin brothers had bigger dreams. They didn't want to drive streetcars forever. After saving up some money, they quit the company and opened a small restaurant in the French market called Martin Brothers Coffee Stand and Restaurant. It wasn't a fancy place, just a simple spot with wooden tables and chairs where you could grab a hot meal fast. The air was thick with the smell of strong coffee brewing, sizzling onions, and hot gravy bubbling on the stove. They served steaming cups of chicory coffee, hearty plate lunches with beans and rice, and thick sandwiches, mostly for workers in the busy market nearby, who came in with dirt under their fingernails and sweat on their shirts. It was the kind of place where people came to eat, talk, and rest before heading back to their jobs. Then came 1929, a year that changed everything. In the summer of 1929, over 1,100 streetcar workers went on strike. They demanded better pay and working conditions, but striking meant no paycheck. Many of these men had families to support. The first week, no streetcars left the station. The second week, the streetcar company hired workers from New York to run the cars and try and break the strike. When this happened, 10,000 residents showed up to protest, blocking the car. A riot broke out, and New Orleanians burned the car to the ground. The strike continued. The workers and their families were now struggling. That's when Benny and Clovis Martin stepped up. They still felt a connection to the streetcar workers. They knew all these men, knew their wives and their kids, so they made a promise. We'll feed any striker and their family who comes to our shop. But over 1,000 men and their families needed food, and families were big back then. They were having a hard time keeping up making standard sandwiches. They went to their local baker and asked them to make a modified French bread. The baker came back with a French bread that had a crispy, thin crust, a light, fluffy interior, but most importantly, almost 40 inches long, just short of 4 feet. Now, when the man came in, they could give him that 40-inch long sandwich to take home and feed his entire family. There is debate about what they filled the sandwich with, but it was probably crispy fried potatoes, tender roast beef scraps, rich brown gravy, or creamy beans. The sandwiches were cheap to make. Every time a striker came into the restaurant, one of the brothers would shout to the kitchen, "Here comes another poor boy!" It was a joke at first, a nickname. But soon, everyone started calling the sandwich the same thing, the poor boy. But sometimes we have a hard time pronouncing things, so the poor boy turns into the po' boy. That small act of kindness, feeding hungry workers, turned into something much bigger. As time passed, the po' boy grew in popularity. It wasn't just for strikers anymore. Everyone loved the satisfying crunch of the bread and the way the flavors mixed together. Today, the iconic po' boy is the golden fried shrimp po' boy, or roast beef po' boy, or plump fried oysters po' boy, or crispy catfish po' boy, and spicy hot sausage po' boy. And they will ask if you want it dressed, which means it comes with fresh lettuce, ripe tomatoes, pickles, creamy mayonnaise. Today, the po' boy is a New Orleans icon. It's not just a sandwich, it's a symbol of the city's spirit. It reminds people that even during hard times, you can show kindness, share what you have, and help your neighbors. Every year, New Orleans celebrates the po' boy at the Oak Street Po' Boy Festival, where the air fills with the sounds of laughter and live music, and restaurants from all over the city serve creative versions to thousands of happy, hungry visitors who line up with watering mouths.